As a Pokemon guy with 7 trillion hours of experience, I know a thing or two. As I've learned every time I watch one of Blue Boyfin's wonderful Pokemon Facts videos, maybe I don't know as much as I think I do. So let's find out what we know and what we don't know.
To uncover things that hopefully even seasoned Pokemon fans have never heard of.
That's me and
Let me
you.
show you what I mean.
We're seasoned. We're like salt and pepper, but we're with a little bit of garlic powder as well. And if you're feeling a little spicy, get some garam masala on that as well. Hey.
The Heart Gold and Soul Silver Safari Zone is one of the most fascinating locations in the entire series.
Okay.
You can encounter countless Pokemon that were previously unavailable in wild grass at the time. And I'm going to show you how to completely ruin this place.
Why?
By using an action replay or cheating device.
Wait a minute, hold on, I want to see that action replay again.
By using an
Hold on, what is what happened to Piplup and Chimchar and Dialga and Palkia? What did they do? What happened to them? Okay, let's ruin the game by cheating, shall we?
Replay or cheating device and turning on a walk through walls cheat and trying to pass the gate on the other side.
I used to love using the walk-through walls code. I just figured it out when I first got platinum when I was like, I don't know, like 14 years old, and I found an action replay. I found it. I bought it from Argos, and I used the walk-through walls code, and I pogged out. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. My brain gave me so much dopamine while walking in between some trees. It was ridiculous. Kids have it so easy. It is so easy for kids to farm dopamine. When you're older, you have to do like Coke to get it. Really, really good. But when you're young, you just do something new. You just have like a bite of chocolate, and it's like, oh, okay, dopamine time.
There will be nothing there at all. But if you use the cheat while inside of the gate, you can pass by the guard. When you cross over, the grass here may seem the same.
Okay.
It's when you find an encounter that you see the difference. It seems that Game Freak really didn't want you to cheat across because they filled the entire back entrance Safari Zone entirely with Rattata.
That's actually an in-lore universe explanation because they have to release the Pokemon for you to go and catch. They keep them in cages. They're not free-roam chickens. They're cage chickens that only get released out when you go in and you pay to get in because it's all about making money, baby. And if they have free-roam Pokemon, they're harder to catch. If they're caged, easier to catch. All about making that money so you'll come back.
This is not a joke. Every single encounter will be a Rattata, all level 20. It is the only thing that spawns in all of this grass. The grass also doesn't operate like a normal Safari encounter. It's just treated like a standard wild encounter. Although Rattata itself is a boring Pokemon, I think this circle—
Hey, whoa, let's not dunk on Rattata too much. It must be some kind of event flag that gets triggered when you talk to the person at the gate. So when you go through, after you talk to him, that's what initiates all of the Pokemon being placed in. And if you just go through without talking to the person, there's like a default kind of stock image that's just sitting there that's just the Rattatas.
Is actually pretty interesting because there's no other patches of grass in the entire existence of Pokemon, to my knowledge, that is filled with nothing but level 20 Rattata. It seems that this was done with the intent of deterring you from cheating like this. Although to somebody who likes to hunt out little secrets, it kind of did the opposite.
Like, oh man, what a pointless waste of time. I can't believe this sucks. Amnesia? Oh, Amnesia is busted in Gen 1. It boosts your special stat, which is a combination of special defense and special attack. So it just makes you unbelievably strong.
In Pokemon Stadium, you could receive a reward gift Pokemon by registering all 151 Pokemon in the Hall of Fame. An incredibly difficult task. The reward for this is a Psyduck, but this Psyduck is actually very unique. It has the move Amnesia, a move that was entirely impossible for Psyduck to obtain any other way, and it remained that way for 20 years, until Generation 9, where it now learns it at level 34. But Amnesia is not the only unique thing about this Psyduck. She's also holding an item. An item—
Wait, isn't Stadium Gen 1? Or is it Gen 2? I was like, how's it holding an item?
Called the Gorgeous Box.
Oh, what? Oh, it's Gen 2. Okay, it's Gen 2.
But no pictures exist since the item is only existent in the Generation 2 games. Before there were pictures of items in your bag.
What does it do?
The Gorgeous Box is an item that is meant to correspond to just the Generation 2 games. By trading this Psyduck up to Gold and Silver and then taking the item off of Psyduck, the box can then be consumed and opened. When it's opened, it becomes a golden trophy to display in your actual room, in your house in Newbark Town.
Oh, that's so sick. I didn't know you could display things in your house in Newbark Town. Why is there a giant onyx there? Is this just a feature in the Gen 2 games that I never knew about?
A very cool little reward.
I think it's no secret that 99% of all interesting Pokemon merchandise came out exclusively in Japan, which is why this video's sponsor, Bai, is so sick.
Bai!
It's a trustworthy middleman you can use to get any product listed on Japan's most popular retail websites. It's one of the few ways out there to tap into the endless bounty that is Japanese Pokemon merchandise.
Oh, dude, there's so many games there.
The last places
Infinite games.
Find affordable Pokemon games.
Oh, you're right, that's so affordable.
Listed on this site is cool enough to warrant its own fact on my channel.
You can buy them.
Bottle, or this old Pokemon slot machine, or these Pikachu and Celebi stickers from 2001.
No way, that's so old.
In a little snack package. One of my favorite things
Delicious.
is this deck of cards with the sprites from Pokemon Stadium on them.
That's
really cool.
60 seconds, but I'm gonna go a few seconds over to tell you 1 minute is not long enough to see all the cool stuff on bai.jp.
Dude, look at the cool
click
things.
the link in the description to scroll it for yourself and see all the cool stuff they have.
I think you'll absolutely enjoy it. If you use my link in the
would.
description, you'll get an additional 10% off anything you like on the website.
That's
Thank
so much.
you, Bai, for supporting the channel. And now back.
Dude, I am going to use the link in the description to get 10% off my Bai purchase to buy infinite things. You can buy so many things, infinite things, by using Blue Boy Finn's Bai link in the description of his video. Do it.
There's a small motif about the Kanto Elite Four member Lorelei, in that she likes to collect Pokemon plushes. An NPC in the postgame of Fire Red and Leaf Green says this: did you know that Lorelei has lots and lots of stuffed dolls?
She's just like me.
Every time she comes back to Four Island, her collection grows. At first glance, this might not seem like anything, but the NPC's statement is actually entirely true, and a hint towards an Easter egg that you can uncover about her character.
I actually know this one. Is it the one where every time that you beat her, or the more times that you beat the Elite Four, the room gets more and more filled with Poke plush dolls? Insinuating that she is so sad and depressed that she is losing all the time. She is doing retail therapy in order to feel better, and that she is using these plushes a way to deal with the depression of being owned by a child over and over again.
What the NPC means by this is that whenever Lorelei loses in battle, she buys a Pokemon plushie to console herself. You can actually visit her house on Four Island, and you'll see her house is covered in plushes. But if you rematch the Elite Four 25 times, a Meowth plush will be added to her house. After 50 times, a Cynthia plush will be added to her house as well.
Who tested this?
After 75 rematches of the Elite Four, a Nidoran plush will sit in the corner.
Why? How does this improve your gameplay experience? Why so many? Like, why not just once every time and then it caps out however many she does?
After 100 rematches of the Elite Four, a Jigglypuff plush will also be added to her room. But it doesn't even come close to ending there. 125 rematches will give you a Nidoran male. 150 rematches will leave a Pidgeotto sitting on the bookshelf. 175 rematches will set a Pidgeot right next to him. And once you reach 200 rematches,
that's enough plushes! That's good!
Elite Four, a giant Lapras plush will spawn in her room to top 200 it all off.
Imagine grinding 200 rematches of the Kanto Elite Four just so you could walk into Lorelei's house uninvited, breaking down her door to see a Lapras plush. That's good. I wonder what the speedrun on full Lorelei house looks like. That's probably not a speedrun that anyone's ever done before. I could be the first to do the Lorelei house plush speedrun.
The channel Cube Game, whose footage I used to display this, since beating the Elite Four this many times is an incredible task, and one that I've never done myself. But I love that this task is rewarded with such a fun detail that hardly anyone has ever seen in their own game.
Yeah, no surprise. I'm shocked that no one's ever seen it.
In the first 5 generations of Pokemon, before switching to 3D models, every time a new generation was introduced, every single Pokemon would have a new rendition and sprite that matched the style of the new game. In Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, during the opening cutscene of the game, There's a very strange oddity regarding this that is very easy to miss. At the end of the cutscene, there's a flash of each starter, and an animation of their type surrounding them. And if you have a keen eye, you may have already seen what I'm talking about.
Is that a new sprite?
Cynthia has an entirely different sprite than it has in-game.
Oh, yeah.
As you can see, the sprite in-game is a completely different rendition. This might not seem too odd, but this doesn't really happen, and a Pokemon having an alternate official sprite for this generation is pretty weird. And
That's
I think
cute.
Cyndaquil is the only Pokemon in the entire game to have this.
Well, it looks very similar to the sprite that they actually use, so it's probably like an old beta version of the sprite, and then they made the intro, and they were like, okay, we've already made the intro, then they went back and kind of moved around the Cyndaquil sprite a little bit, because I think the new one that was actually placed in the game looks a little bit better, so they probably made the intro, was like, okay, we've already made the intro, we don't want to go back and change that now, but let's just like change up the sprite a little bit and then add that into the game as like they were cleaning up everything towards the end.
This isn't the only Sprite Oddity in the history of the series.
When creating the remasters for Generation 1, what we know as Fire Red and Leaf Green, they redid every single Kanto sprite from the previous game at the time, which was Pokemon Emerald. But for some strange reason, after changing every
Because the Emerald sprites for the Kanto mons look so arse. They are bad.
Kanto Pokemon sprite, they decided to change just one sprite art for one single additional Pokemon outside of the Kanto region.
What?
That Pokemon being Teddiursa. Teddiursa doesn't even spawn anywhere within the entire game of Fire Red and Leaf Green. The only way to get one would have been to go through the Altering Cave event. The Altering Cave event was an experimental way of Pokemon event distribution. They added a cave that you could get to after beating the game in both Emerald and Fire Red and Leaf Green, but the cave would only spawn Zubats. The idea being that after you received a distribution at an event, one of 8 Pokemon would switch out Zubat's spot as the 100% encounterable Pokemon.
Come on, man, what a waste of time. Who wants to go to an event so they have a 1 in 8 chance of finding a Pineco? Like, I know if you want to complete the Pokedex, looks like something that you might want to do, but like, it's not like that cool of an event, right?
Teddiursa being one of those. But sadly, the event was never released, so the Teddiursa Sprite Oddity just remains a strange forgotten relic and a cave full of what could have been.
The new Teddiursa Sprite looks a lot better.
Noticed Shuckle was also on this list. Shuckle in Fire Red Leaf Green was programmed to always hold a berry juice, a very notoriously elusive item. But seeing as
I like the idea that the berry juice comes from the Shuckle, yes, but additionally, the straw and the cup that you consume it from also comes from the Shuckle. Like, they just manufacture straws and bowls inside of their body, and it pops out.
The event was never officially used, you cannot encounter Shuckle at all, making the berry juice item also completely unobtainable in these games.
You trade it from Emerald, though? You could trade it, right?
I'm going to show you a little quirked up glitch in Fire Red and Leaf Green. To show you, we have to first obtain a Pokemon while inside of Celadon City. I decided to just buy an Abra from the game corner, but you can also get the gift Eevee here, or hatch an egg while inside of the town. Anything works as long as you can get the met location of the Pokemon to be Celadon City. Take your newly obtained Pokemon and walk inside of the Celadon department store. Then check its summary again. You'll see the met location will have strangely changed from Celadon City to Celadon department store.
That's weird because you shouldn't be able to even get a Pokemon inside the Celadon department store. That's not even a possible thing that you can do. That's so odd.
Pretty strange. Even stranger though, as soon as you walk out, the met location will then change back to Celadon City. I wanted to see if it was possible to get a Pokemon to keep the met location tag of Celadon department store. So I hatched an egg while inside of the store, and sure enough, it had the department store text in its summary.
Fabris kept changing.
As soon as I walked out, it changed to normal Celadon City. A strange little anomaly for sure.
That's so, why does it do that? I'm trying to think, like, from a programming sense, how would that work? Because when you assign the met location, why would you even, like, it shouldn't even be able to change. Because the met location is not going to change. So why would the met location even have a function that allows it to change? That is so odd. I don't even know how that would work. Cynthia!
It's interesting when a detail or feature about a Pokemon game is tucked away so deep that it's left to the brute determination of the player to dig it up. And I'm curious if anyone watching this has played enough of Pokemon Platinum to see this detail with their own eyes. Once you complete the game and have access to the resort house, you can start buying furniture for the place. As you buy certain things, certain characters will then appear
those Glameow statues look like they're crying. It is so odd.
And come to your house. By buying the right things,
His weepy
you
eyes.
eventually get Cynthia to appear at your resort house.
Yeah?
There's not much to get from this aside from a few extra lines of dialogue and a little cutscene.
Okay.
But by buying the most expensive item, the piano, for 146,000 Pokedollars,
That's
Cynthia
a lot.
will then come and sit by it. But the coolest part is that I believe this piano is canonically supposed to be the one playing her encounter theme, because when you walk up and interact with it, this happens.
Is this real? Dude, that's... Are you telling me my boy Lucas just goes ham on the piano? That he just inherently knows how to go freaking crazy on it? That he just sits down and goes... Like, Jesus Christ, Lucas, chill out, man. You're in-house by yourself. What's going on? Why is Rourke there? Why is he standing in the corner of the... Why is Rourke standing in the next to the bed? Rourke, what are you doing there? That's a bit odd. That's a little strange. The bar?
In Gen 3, there are a group of NPCs called the Old Guys. You may remember these funky-looking dudes in your game, but you may not.
I do remember them.
Because which old guy you got depended on your trainer ID. There were 5 different guys you could have in your game. Each guy had a different color sprite and had an entirely different function.
They're kind of useless.
The guy you got depended on the number your trainer ID ended with. If your trainer ID ends in 6 or 7, you'd get a guy called the Storyteller, who would appear and tell you things about your game, like how many times you've saved, or how many times you caught a Pokemon with a fishing rod. But there's actually a much more interesting guy, called the Bard. He would sing a set of phrases for you, like actually sing them out in a weird robotic Game Boy voice.
Yeah, I remember this guy. I remember talking to this guy so many times, I just didn't get it. I was like, oh, this guy's just weird. What does this mean?
There's a small quirk with this, though. Of all the words you could select for the Bard to sing, there was one that he could not, and that was the word Celebi.
What?
You could choose a whole array of words, including every single Pokemon, except for one. Now, I doubt anyone watching this has ever seen or heard this before, because the Pokemon that the Bard can sing are only ones that you have had registered in your Pokedex.
Okay.
So, you would have had to obtain a Celebi in your Generation 3 game,
which is impossible.
Only possible through events. If you were fortunate enough to attend one of these events and have a Celebi registered in your dex, you would then have to be lucky enough to have an ID ending in 0 or 1.
And then you would have to have the foresight to go over to the guy, try to make him say Celebi, discover that he can't say Celebi for whatever reason, and then you're like, oh, he can't say Celebi. No one is ever going to figure that out. How did the person figure that out? Did you look in the code? Look in the programming, maybe?
Placing the Bard in your game. Then and only then would you be able to see this small oversight that the Bard, for some reason, cannot sing this word. And
this guy's a weirdo.
Would have looked like.
Oh, so you can actually say it. Does he just not sing it at all? He doesn't make a sound? Let me sing it for you. Okay, here we go. Sister eats. Oh my god. Yeah, he's just not. Oh, dude, it's so slow. What the heck? Dude, this is like creepypasta. Oh my god. What the hell is wrong with him? Dude has trauma. I bet he was like assaulted by a Celebi when he was a young boy. And he doesn't want to go back to the trauma. He doesn't want to remember the bad times. That's so slow. That was a little scary, not gonna lie. Fact number 9, the finale.
I heard a rumor that it was possible to lose the initial battle after you select your starter in Diamond and Pearl. And that something really crazy happens when you do.
You get eaten alive.
Was I had only ever seen this done in a Japanese game. And as
Solly picks out your eyes.
Game Freak tends to fix tons of glitches between the Japanese and international releases of the Pokemon games.
So the Japanese ones are basically the beta versions. Thank you, Japan, for beta testing our games.
I figured it was likely that this was fixed, but I'll tell you right now, it is in the game, but it is not easy. The first step to doing this is to save right before you enter Lake Verity, because as soon as you enter this area, your starter is determined. and we need a very specific Pokemon to make this work. We need a Chimchar with a slightly lower HP stat than normal. 19 HP is as low as it can get at this level. It also either needs to have very low defense IVs or a defense lowering nature. Once you've found your Chimchar, it is a whole nother game of chance after this. You must use every single Growl PP you have until the Starly has tackled you to the perfect HP.
Okay.
You see, just like in Generation 3, they tried to stop you from losing this initial battle. You may have seen this before. They have your wild opponent flee from you when your health gets too low.
Yeah, they run away. Oh, but if you die, like what if they crit you? That would be possible, right?
In this case, as soon as your health reaches the red, the wild Starly flees. That's what makes this very difficult. This happened to me so many times. But if the stars align and your hasty nature 19 HP Chimchar lands on exactly 4 HP, one single health point away from being in the red, then begins another game of chance. In Pokemon, there's a small chance that a move's power will fluctuate in damage, higher or lower. We need Starly to tackle us and hit a very high roll, while our Chimchar has exactly 4 HP.
Oh my god.
This took me hours.
Hours? Oh my god, this is like shiny hunting. Okay, PlayStation guy says, what's gonna happen? Does the game just absolutely shit itself and crash? Is there some kind of weird sprite glitch that happens? I don't know. I think it's gonna crash, to be honest.
Speeding up my game in some parts. The chances of this actually happening are incredibly low, but the result
is something no one has ever seen before. No one has ever seen this. It's really trying. Come on, Chimchar, you can do it. You can die. Okay. Does it crash? The Chimchar goes down. All right, you lose to Starly. Starly wins. Dot is out of usable Pokemon. Dot dropped 40 in panic. Wait, this is weird because the character actually had a name. It was called Break. So the character had a name, so just not displaying the character's name for some reason. You black out, and do you sequence break?
I finally got it.
Okay, you got it.
My game is frozen.
Okay, it crashes.
Like, there's nothing I can do.
They did not account for this.
This took me hours. This took me hours of the most boring battle of all time. But it's real. It's real.
It just dies.
I really can't do anything. That's it, just black screen.
That's funny. Imagine being like a 5-year-old kid and discovering this for the first time just because you suck at the game so much.
I can't hear anything. There's no audio either.
It just absolutely kills itself. What happens when you restart, though? Is the game completely broken? Is it unplayable? Thank you for making the video, Blue Boy Finn. Thank you so much. That was a fantastic video. Make sure you subscribe to Blue Boy. And if you want me to react to a video, let me know on my Discord server. See you later.